Welcome! In this session, we will learn to split the original dataset into a training and testing dataset. The first one to train our neural network model, and the second one to evaluate its quality. So we are here in R, and let's install the recurrent package and put it in the library. So we will write install.packages caret or caret. And as I have already installed this package, I'm not going to press enter. If you haven't installed it, you have to press enter. But I'm going to put it in the library. Library caret. I press enter. So after we have the caret package in our library, we're going to set a random number generation seed value, and I will choose 2021. But it could be any number, as long as we choose the same one before running the models to obtain consistent results. So once the caret package is in our library, we can write set.seed 2021. And now we are going to split the data into two parts with the create data partition function, which is included in the caret package. I'm going to use 80% of the data to train my model and 20% to test it. So I'm going to create a partition, a vector partition, which will be equal to the function create data partition, which is part of the caret package, and I'm going to tell it that I want to partition in my credit cards normalized dataset, and I'm going to select any of the variables. I'm going to select the dependent variable. In this case, is defaulter flag. I'm going to press Shift Enter to go to the other line. I'm going to tell it that I want to do the partition at the 80%. And finally, I'm going to write list equals to false, because by default it will create a list, and I don't want a list, I want a vector. So I tell it list equals false. I press enter, and now I have created a partition. Let's look partition, where it is. Here it is. Double click, and then you can see the vector partition, which actually has 23,125 observations, and that's the 80% of the 28,906 observations. And as you can see, it has selected random numbers between 1 and 28,906. So I have these 23,000 numbers. Now let's split the data set using the vector partition. Let's create the two data sets. Firstly, we will create the training data sets, which will be equal to credit cards.normal. And from this data set, please select all the rows that are included in partition and all the columns. I press enter, and you can see here that we have these 23,125 observations, so the ones that were included in the training dataset. And now let's create the testing dataset, which will be equal to credit cards.normal. And from this original dataset, please select all the observations that are not included in the vector partition, so minus partition, and all the rows that are not included in partition, and all the columns, so comma, and I don't write anything. I press enter, and then you can see these 5,781 observations of the 17 variables. So we have already created the testing and training data sets. We are going to use the training data set to train our model, and the testing one to evaluate the quality of such model. Thanks for watching.